Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, another one of my current events videos. And this one on the recent announcement from the White House by Trump. He's going to be issuing executive orders in order to help control local law enforcement thugs. And again, this raises some constitutional issues as to whether that's even possible, even in a state of war, which we're not. Because in order to have help going into the states, it seems like Article 4, Section 4 says the legislature has to request it or the governor, neither of which has happened. So this subject, we'll see how this develops. And of course, they're fighting in Congress now with the Democrats and Republicans over passing legislation that will be equally unconstitutional. At least Mitch McConnell, for once, has the right idea about it when he says the Democrats want to federalize everything, as if that hasn't already happened. But in plain fact, the matter is it has. But I'm here to suggest there's a much simpler solution, Don. Are you listening? And Gavin Gruesome out here in California, as both of you, and including all of the territorial governors, have the sworn duty to see the laws are faithfully executed. If you train these law enforcement thugs not to confuse you and I out there as IBM, Chase Bank, or another artificial corporate entity, and that's all these statutes apply to, and I can dead bang prove it with my document packet. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com for information, constitutional defense document packets. And I've got a new COVID packet too that explains not only why I think that's so, but why it's true. And my documents and my issues are unopposed here. Local dumbass never even acknowledged them, let alone attempted to refute what I've been saying. So that's the case. We're not corporations. We're not subject to the statutes. That goes at least as far back to the first code pleading arranged by David Dudley Field in the 1860s in New York State, because they realized with the onset of corporations coming into existence that they would need to be controlled because they don't have a conscience, they can't think, and they're per se incompetent when they get into court. And that last part may sound real familiar to a lot of those of you who've been there. And they make a finding that you're immediately incompetent to appear pro se and represent yourself because they think you're a damn corporation. But if they did that, that would be a hell of a lot simpler, less expensive, more efficient. The only quote unquote downside here, especially if you're a law enforcement thug, is the net result is fewer laws, fewer prisons, fewer law enforcement agents. Maybe get back to actually having peace officers like we did when I was growing up. That would be a hell of a lot better. So, that said, I think that's a much better solution than anything going on in Washington, D.C. with a WAR. And I can say that, my former hometown. But it's simple. And oh, by the way, I'll remind everybody out there, especially you bet I heard another report in South Carolina, another thug's knee somehow got on the neck of another black man for 15 or 20 seconds. And the police chief said there, oh, no harm, no foul. Knee just accidentally slipped. And after all, the guy was resisting arrest. What I want to know is how the hell you can resist an arrest when the court wouldn't have had jurisdiction over the offense. Answer that question, why don't you? And the good news there, if that's true, and it is that these thugs aren't acting in any official capacity, and they're now going to be personally liable. And that's what I try to point out in my documents, especially my new COVID packet on this subject is, if they're out there, they're liable. And the Supreme Court says we have the right to self-defense because they don't have a warrant, they don't have probable cause, and don't have any business bothering us on the street for one of these damn statutory commercial crimes, which, by the way, commercial means it's subject to the Interstate Commerce Clause powers of Congress, and that's admiralty jurisdiction. And for those of you who didn't get it in the mandatory public education system, the abuse of admiralty by King George III was the central reason for the American Revolution. And they're going to tell us that we've somewhere along the line made a voluntary, knowing, and intelligent waiver back into that jurisdiction. That chance. I mean, that's how ridiculous this is, bottom line. And it's so simple, most of my proverbial fourth graders are going to understand this. even though most law school graduates don't seem to have a clue. You can draw your own inferences from that one, but I've been through it now in my 5th decade. And even in South Carolina, in that jail cell that I was there for 5 months, that's the cradle of the state's rights. Nobody had a clue. They did, however, eventually figure out that they couldn't convict me of a damn thing, which they couldn't. And if I get in front of a jury, I'm going to break their state bar monopoly on the practice of law and get 50-1 to boot. That would have been even better, but it didn't work out that way. More about that in another video. But that said, remember to like my videos, tell your friends, subscribe, get the word out. The more people we have doing this and with these issues that I advocate, the quicker we get these bastards off our back, maybe permanently. We have an unprecedented window of opportunity with this COVID crap and all this nonsense with murdering blacks, especially in Minneapolis with George Floyd. I mean, events have come together here. We have a real chance to get this done. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you as much as I can. And I hope we can get the job done. Thank you.